So, welcome. I do believe that this will be the longest video that I have on my channel that is not a live stream. Welcome to ranking a bunch of random metal album covers from some of my favorite bands and other random bands I decided to do. Now this is most definitely going to be my longest video, which is why I'm making Nicholas edit it. Aren't you so happy about that, Nicholas? He loves it. He loves his job. He likes not being paid. But the bands that we will be ranking are Metallica, System of a Down, Black Sabbath. Let's scroll down my little list I have here. Korn, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Pantera, Guns N' Roses, Avenged Sevenfold, Sabaton, Slipknot, Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, but not all of theirs. Dragon Force, and the Cabbages. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Now, just so that the video is better for you guys, every time we switch a band, Nicholas will make the background something different, depending on what he feels would fit the band. We're starting off with Metallica, so put something metallic-y in the background, Nicholas. Explosion. Boom. Yeah, let's get into it. So the first Metallica album of ever, Kill 'Em All, it is very iconic. I'm going to try not to rate things if they're iconic or not, but I do think it's important to mention that this one is very iconic. It is simple. It's just blood splatter, a hammer, and a hand. But it does the simple well. So in my opinion, it gets an A tier. Ride the Lightning is amazing. I am a sucker when it comes to this kind of stuff, like hand-drawn, but like cool hand-drawn, not like stupid hand-drawn. You'll see that later in the list. So, paired with another really good album, I'm not taking into account whether the album is good or not, but this one is really good. I just thought I'd mention it. Probably Metallica's best. But the album cover alone gets an S tier. Now, Master of Puppets is another very iconic album cover, thanks to Stranger Things, really. But it was even iconic before that. And I don't know, I love it a lot. And it took me forever to realize that those weren't black and red clouds in the skies, but those were the little puppet master's hands. I thought that was amazing, so also an S tier. And Justice for All is another really good album cover, and it's not simple. Just to say that it's like this Lady Peace, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. Nicholas, get the name for the little statue on the front of the cover and put it on screen somewhere. On my eyes. Put it on my eyes. And it has like the money in the thing. And Justice for All, it's like they're bribing the judges, I think. I don't know. It's cool. S tier. Now their self-titled album is I wanted to give it S tier just via the goofiness, but I did have to take into account that it is just black with like a little snake and their name. But I still think it's really good, and I think it gets an A tier. Now, you know what's not very good is Load. This is a very yucky album cover. It made me go, yuck. And it didn't even make the yucky look cool. So, if you don't know, it is the white stuff. The dude just put the white stuff and pig's blood. So, E tier. Now, Reload does that exact same thing except a P, which is still very yucky, but at least looks cooler, so it gets a D tier. Garage Incorporated. I think I know what they were going for this album cover. They did it, but it's nothing special. It's just like them in like, I don't know, mechanic outfits. So, yeah. And it doesn't have the iconic Metallica logo. It isn't always a bad thing, but I think this one could have definitely used it. So, I think C tier. Now, Saint Anger. This one is going to for sure deviate the most from what I ranked it when we're talking about how I like the music itself. Saint Anger is an awful album, but I think the album cover is actually really good. Now, is it anything special? Like really good? No. Nowhere near good. Well, no. It's not amazing. It's good, but not amazing. Now Nicholas put like soft effects, like yeah. I'd say this goes in B tier. Death Magnetic. The Death Magnetic is also a very good album cover. Yeah, we're doing album covers. Also a very good album cover. I like how they did the little magnetic iron dust that made it look like a coffin. I think that's very unique. I haven't seen anyone else do that. So it also gets a B tier. Lulu. F tier. It sucks. They didn't even make a good album cover to go with this garbage album. Hardwired to Self-Destruct. It's quite goofy. Their heads are going like all over the place. It's bluish, I think. Their faces are blue or purple. But it's not bad. B tier. And their last album, which hasn't fully come out yet, 72 Seasons, is also pretty good. It's yellow. But yellow and black's a good like color combo. B tier. Alrighty, that's all the Metallica ones. Switch just to something really cool for the System of a Down. And just from now on, put like some random like monkey or explosion or just something to transition us into the next band. Okay, Nicholas, you're doing great. Okay. System of a Down, starting now. Their self-titled album was their first album, and their album cover is I don't know, it's simple, but it does simple well. It's just like that right there. I'm doing it right now, but it's not bad, and it's very iconic. A tier. Now, Toxicity.
I have this record because I'm really cool.
I have preached how this is one of, if not the most perfect album of all time. It's more perfect than when Pizza Hut, before it went to crap, would give you a stuffed crust, extra cheese pizza, and you'd eat it in like 5 seconds and have like I'm talking about the entire pizza in 5 seconds, not just a slice. And then your tummy would hurt, but you didn't care because it tasted so good. And then you would chug the entire 2 liter of Pepsi it came with. It's better than that, more perfect. And their album cover is about as perfect as it is. It does. Okay, let's get this out of the way. I don't know why they went with like the Hollywood stuff, like the Hollywood sign of System of a Down. If you can find a meaning, Nicholas, put it on screen. But I think it works very well with what the album goes for. Saying that they are a political, well, not a political band, but they make a lot of political songs. But this is a perfect album cover for the perfect album. S tier. Steal This Album was, in my opinion, unoriginal, but I think that's kind of what they were going for. It's just a CD, and on it says Steal This Album. And it's nothing special, but they probably weren't going to make it special. So, but just because of how, in my opinion, boring it is, it's not bad, but it's boring. It gets a B tier. Next is Mesmerize, and while not being bad and not being like amazing, it's still really good. I don't know what's going on in it though. It's just a dude like staring into the. I don't know. It's a great album cover though, so it gets an A tier. Along with our next one, Hypnotize. You can also put that in A tier. Hypnotize is also very good. I also don't know what's going on in it, but it's still good. It's an A tier. Alrighty, Nicholas, let's see if you remember what I told you earlier. Next, we are going on to Black Sabbath, which has 19 I have to cover. First, we're starting off with Black Sabbath, which is their self-titled album, Black Sabbath. I really liked this one. It was just like some weirdo standing there, like it's grainy, like it just like the Bigfoot video, except a little more grainy and a little more red. But like it's still good, and I think it accomplishes what they're going for. It's a great album cover for a first album, and it gets an A tier. Paranoid, which my opinion here is going to be very controversial, but Paranoid while being an amazing album, probably one of their best. I think that their album cover could have been better. Granted, this was in like the 50s and 60s, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I would give it a B tier. Master of Reality. It's just black, and it has Master of Reality and Black Sabbath above it. It's like funky. I don't know. Wasn't really my thing. E tier. Now, Volume 4. It's just like Ozzy Osbourne, I think, but like yellow for some reason. It says Volume 4. I don't know. I didn't really get it. I also thought it was pretty unoriginal and boring. D tier. Now, what I did not think was very unoriginal and boring was Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, which was a nice refresher after the last two. It was like after a very hard day of running for 5 hours, like you ran 3 miles, 5 hours because you suck at running, but like still. And you get home and you just take that nice cold water and you just drink it and then you pour it all over yourself and then you go take a shower and you fall asleep in the shower. It was like that. Like, pure ecstasy after those two. In respect to the other ones, it's not the best, but like after those last two, it's pretty good. I'd still give it an A tier though. Sabotage is very unoriginal. It's just them standing behind the name. I mean, in front of the name, and it's boring. C tier. Technical ecstasy. I don't know what was going on here, but like unlike some of the other ones, in a bad way. So if you can figure out what it means, Nicholas, put it on screen. It's also a C tier. Never Say Die was better, but still just as boring, so I also give it a C tier. It was just them standing in front of a plane. Heaven and Hell was an amazing album cover. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, you, in the last video I made with Black Sabbath albums ranked, you could tell I liked it. But, like, just the angels sitting there smoking, playing cards. Put the meaning on screen again, Nicholas. It was pretty goofy, but in a good way. I liked it a lot, and it gets an A tier. Mob Rules. Now, when I said I was a sucker for hand-drawn ones, not all of them are, but this has the kind of style, like those, like Mob Rules, put it on screen really big, Nicholas. That kind of hand-drawn stuff is what the kind of hand-drawn stuff that I'm just a real sucker for. So that's why I got an easy S tier for me. Now, Born Again. Now, when I was ranking the albums by how good they are, I gave this one as mid as Chris Pratt's performance in the advertisements for the Mario movie, specifically the advertisements. But, in my opinion, Mario in the advertisements wasn't that good. It was very mid. But this one, the album cover is better than the album. It's a baby with like little devil horns. It's like crying, I think. I don't know. It was pretty good. Blue and red. The baby was red. It was pretty good. B tier. Now, the seventh star was just the bassist of Deep Purple, Glenn Hughes. I I don't know why they made this a Black Sabbath album. I actually do know, but like it's not a good reason. It's because they thought it would sell more. Granted, it probably did. But it's not a good album cover. F tier. Eternal Idol. And now, while I love this, how the singer of this album did later, this album cover is just not good. It's not a good album cover to start to, and it gets an E tier. I don't know what's going on. It's just two statues doing something I would assume is not safe for YouTube. Headless Cross. Now, as much as I love this album, I can't be biased here, and it is just a tombstone, but it's a really cool tombstone. It's a very cool, regular tombstone. It's a B tier in my eyes. Now, tier. Nicholas, you didn't put it last time. If you don't put it this time, I am decreasing your pay. Me.
Tier.
It's a great album, about as good as Headless Cross, so I'd also give it a B tier. Now, Dehumanizer. This is the kind of stuff I love, like Mob Rules. And bonus points because it's skeletons. I love skeletons in metal covers. I think it works amazingly. When you get to Avenged Sevenfold, you'll see that really well, but I love skeletons in metal album covers. Dehumanizer does it really well. so it gets an S tier. It may be a skeleton robot. I don't know. I didn't really zoom into the photo that much. Oh, I was paying attention more to the pretty good music in it. Cross purposes gets a angel looking around with fire. I think it's a B tier. It's something, but it's a little boring. Forbidden. Now, this is probably Black Sabbath's most underrated album, and when it comes to the album cover, I would also agree. It skeleton, so bonus points, but like it's really good, and it makes me go haha happy. So I'd give it an S tier. And now Black Sabbath's last album, 13. It's just 13 wood burning. Grant or wood or hay or whatever. It's good, like but boring. So B tier. Alrighty, now we're on the corn. Hopefully Nicholas has remembered by now because I'm going to stop mentioning it because it's probably getting repetitive. We're on the corn. There you go. First is Corn, the self-titled album. Now, even if I didn't like this album cover, which I really do, I feel scared giving it less than an S tier because of how the dude is just like standing there. He's so scary. I feel like he'll come and kill me if I don't give this an S tier, which is why I'm going to give it an S tier. Though it also does look really good. Life is Peachy I gave an A tier. This little kid, he's staring into the mirror, and then the evil dude behind him. I don't know what that is. Put it on screen, Nicholas. It reminded me of a giant fear I've had for a while, where if I were to look in the mirror, a ghost would come out, and he would grab me and pull me into the mirror, and he would kill me, and like stab me and stuff. It all started because of a stupid like Bloody Mary trend. I don't have that fear anymore, luckily, but I did for a while. That was fun. A tier. Follow the Leaders is like a little kid running away from like a hopscotch, and a bunch of little kids are like, let's go get the kid. But it's a bit boring, but it is hand drawn, and I like hand drawn stuff, so I get a B tier. Now, Issues. I don't have much to say about Issues. It's very good. It's got an orange background. You don't see many orange albums. It's got the little doll laying down. Very iconic, but I'm going to have to give it a A tier. A tier. I was going to give it a B tier. I even had B tier written, but we're going to change that real quick. I think this album cover deserves an A tier. Next is the Untouchables. And unlike the last one where I said I didn't have much to say about it, and I did, I actually don't have much to say about it, so I am going to give it a B tier. Take a Look in the Mirror is just a mirror, but it's hand drawn, and you know my opinion on hand drawn stuff. Hand drawn stuff is a lot better than like photographs and 3D stuff, in my opinion, because the hand drawn looks really cool for album cover, for like specifically metal. Not a lot of bands can pull it off as well as them though, and it's very good hand drawn. It's better than my 5-year-old drawing that my grandma said she loved and she put on the fridge. So, A tier. See You on the Other Side. Once again, not much to say. By that I mean I forgot what it looks like. See You on the Other Side. Very good. Very good. It has the second ever Korn song I listened to, but when we're talking about the album covers, this little kid, he's like, or something like that, I don't know. And he's got the rabbit, like, with the crown. Then the other dude behind them, it's like blue and stuff. I don't know. It's very good, but I would still give it a B tier. Untitled. First off, why did they not title this? It was boring, in my opinion. C tier. Corn 3. I did not like this. It was just like a car and a dude in it and then a girl outside. E tier. It's boring. I don't like it. Path of Totality. It's just like the Corn name, but then there's like the lights behind it. And I don't know. In my opinion, that's pretty boring. So I give it a C tier. And I'm not looking up some of these. Promise. The Paradigm Shift. I don't know what's going on, but I still liked it. B tier. Like, I didn't know what's going on, so I can't really describe it that much. The Serenity of Suffering. I like this one. It Gives nostalgia of like carnivals and like amusement parks and stuff like that. I liked it. A tier. The Nothing. The Nothing was like the dude falling down to like the sticks, and I don't know what it is, but like cool lines and stuff. It's pretty cool. I gave it an A tier, but it's pretty cool. Now Requiem, that's the one of the dudes going like crushing in the baby's face. It was pretty funny. But that being said, I didn't like how it looked that much, so C tier. Alrighty, now we're on to Iron Maiden. And starting off, Iron Maiden is a self-titled album. So many self-titled albums. Now, Iron Maiden's first album, while being very good and very well hand-drawn, as you can see in a second, I like every single one of their album covers. It gets a B tier because, granted, it's their first one, so yeah, but B tier. Now, Killers. Killers gave the dude wackier hair. Well, no, it made his hair more flowy, but in my opinion, more wackier. But it also looks better. So I give it an A tier. And I really am a sucker for Iron Maiden's albums. Like the Number of the Beast as the little dude, like yeah, and then the devil running. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Though I also still gave it an A tier. Peace of Mind. Now, this one's pretty cool. It's got like they're like little zombie dude. Nicholas, if you can figure out what that thing is, put it on screen. I'm pretty sure it's a zombie. If I'm right, make the background um, a pink birthday cake. And if I'm wrong, make it Lulu. So I'm tortured. Okay, now change it back to whatever you made Iron Maiden. So Peace of Mind, it was pretty cool. The little dude was like chained up in a mental asylum. I liked that a lot. S tier. Power Slave. Power Slave is another very great album cover. It's one of the few that doesn't have like the little zombie. I'm pretty sure a lot of them actually don't, but it's one of those few that don't. I'm gonna say that still, probably very wrong. But everyone that doesn't have it on screen, good job, Nicholas. Still very good. A tier. Somewhere in Time. I don't know if this is like a popular opinion of mine, but I extremely like this one. It's a little zombie dude, but like in the future, he's like a cyborg. It's very cool. Pretty sure it's a time traveler. S tier. A seventh son of a seventh son. So like you got the dude, he's like kind of floating in like iceberg water. I understand it. It was cool still though. So, that's brownie points. It gets an A tier. Now, No Prayer for Dying is like the other ones, very good. Very good album cover. The drawings are very well, and I give it an A tier. Now, Fear of the Dark. It's got like the tree, like their little dude is like in the tree, and that's pretty cool. So I gave it an A tier. Next is the X Factor, and I don't know if this is like really just like a very good drawing or 3D. But I don't know, it gave me the little goosey woosey bumps. Like when you were watching like your first horror movie, for me it was probably like Scream or something, I don't know, and like you got to the jump scare and you were like, ah, oh no, like those goosebumps. Yeah. But like not because I was scared, because I was cold at the time. So more like whenever you experienced your first winter outside and you were like, brr, I'm so cold. And then like it snowed on you and you were freezing to death, and then you got frostbite and had to amputate your arm, and then your mom disowned you, and then we're gonna stop there. B tier. Virtual XI. I would say it's about as good as the X Factor. So nothing too special, but I really did like it still. But like not as much as a lot of the other ones. And because of that, I'm going to give it a B tier. Oh yes. Brave New World. Brave New World was like a cloud, and the cloud was in the shape of the little dude. It wasn't the actual dude, but it's in the shape. It was like looking over a city. It was pretty cool. But I think it could have been done better, and because of that, I'm gonna give it a B tier. Now the Dance of Death. This was scary for me. I didn't know what was going on. You got like the Grim Reaper dude. I'm pretty sure it was actually the Grim Reaper. I don't know if it was the little dude or not. The zombie dude. I'm going to go with the zombie dude instead. But then there was like a bunch of 3D stuff, and the 3D stuff was scary. Like early to, it was like what you would expect a early draft of a Pixar movie to look like. B tier. A Matter of Life and Death. Holy crap! This was such a cool album cover. I loved it. I loved the tanks. I loved the army men. I'm pretty sure they were skeletons or the zombie dudes. I forget, but once again, if they were skeletons, they get those skeleton brownie points. Love it. S tier. The Final Frontier. Final Frontier takes place in space. And you got the alien, he's like killing a bunch of or he already killed a bunch of astronauts, I think, and they're all skeletons now. So first off, skeletons, you already know I like skeletons in metal covers, so that's brownie points. The alien looks very cool. Everything looks very cool. Gets an S tier for me. The Book of Souls has like their zombie dude, and like he's like sitting there, and his mouth is funky. It's got like red on him. I think it's red or white paint, but I like it. Hopefully you like it. A tier. The last one's Senjutsu. Yeah, and it's the little zombie dude, but he's a samurai, and that is very cool. S tier. Now we're on to Asda's, which in case you're wondering what that is, it's AC/DC. Now, as much as I love this band, I'm gonna have to. This pains me, but I don't like their album covers the best. First is High Voltage, which is like Angus Young. I'm pretty sure that's his name. High Voltage, it's very good. You got Angus Young, you got Lightning, but it's nothing special, so it gets a B tier. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. That's a mouthful, but it's like a bunch of people standing there, and like their eyes are blacked out, like that. Probably, I don't know. But it gets a B tier, nothing special. Let There Be Rock, I really liked this one. They were like on the rocks, and like Angus Young was like burning, and the rest of the band was doing their stuff. Very good, A tier. Now Powerage, I don't know what this cover was. It was like their original lead singer standing there, and like his hands are replaced with electrical wires. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. C tier. Highway to Hell. Now, as iconic as this album is, its album cover is a bit goofy. It's not the best, but it is still good, and I would give it a B tier. Back in Black is very similar to Metallica's self-titled album, and I like the simplicity. But like once again, with it being black, I can't really rank it that high, so I give it an A tier at most. For Those About to Rock. Now, this one was okay, not good, not bad, or not really good, not bad. Liked it still, so B tier. Flick of a Switch was hand drawn, but not in the kind of way I like it, but still very good, and I had to admit it was a good album cover, so it gets a B tier. Similarly to Fly on the Wall, which also gets a B tier. Blow Up Your Video was, I'm pretty sure, Angus Young again, maybe their new lead singer. He was like flying through the TV screen, it looked like. And once again, not a big fan of it, so C tier. Now this is where we get into a really good one, The Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge is very good. I don't think anyone's denying that. It's hand drawn, so that's big bonus points. So, in the wise words of the baby, we can't let's go if we don't give this an S tier. Now, Ball Breaker. Purely because of the name alone, I gave it an A tier. If it wasn't because of the name, it would have been B or C tier. But the name boosted it up to an A tier. It was Ball Breaker. Stiff Upper Lip. It's very similar to Blow Up Your Video and Who Made Who, in the way that I don't like it that much, but it's nothing bad. Truly mid. It's more mid than the time that I had Brussels sprouts and I died. So, C tier. Black Ice. Black Ice, I liked the simplicity of it. It was like black background with some cool like design patterns and stuff. And then just AC/DC. But I think that works very well with what their band is, so A tier. Rock or Bust is very similar. It's just like a background and then AC/DC, but like it's made of rocks, but it's drawn, so it's cool. So it's A tier. Another last one, Power Up. I really liked this one. She may not, but I do. It was very red, but like red's a good color, so it gets an S tier. And Nicholas, real quick before we start Pantera, we're gonna do a color tier list. Okay, so we got green, blue, or no, green, red, blue, pink, purple, yellow, orange. And if you disagree with that, bozo. Now, Pantera. These are some of the wackiest ones I've ever seen. They're very wacky. Starting with Cowboys from Hell. I didn't know what was going on. They were in a bar. They were going wacky and stuff, but it was pretty goofy. I give it an A tier. Now, the vulgar display of power. Nicholas plays a video of someone like a Karen getting hit or something.
Why do I enjoy punching homeless people? It's not for the reason you'd expect. I don't get off on the violence. I get off on the feeling of control.
Or someone getting smacked that deserved it. I don't know. Just play a video of that. But yeah, it was like that, but like it stopped in the middle of it. It was very good. It was goofy too, went with what I had recently learned from Cowboys from Hell, that it was a very goofy album covers. So S tier. Far Beyond Driven lost the goofiness, and I was very saddened by this news. And because of that alone, it was a B tier. Same with the Great Southern Dread and Kill, because although it was a very good album cover, it didn't just have the pure goofiness that all the other ones had. So B tier. Reinventing Steel brought back that goofiness, and I was so happy. It was like a man jumping, fire, something, I don't know. It was very good. Very good. A tier. Now we're on to Guns N' Roses. The Sweet Child of Mine. Guns N' Roses. That was a great joke. Yeah. You better not make me look like an idiot, Nicholas. Appetite for Destruction is amazing. Black background, like a cross, and all the members in the band in that cross is very good. Very good indeed. S tier. GNR Lies. I did not like this album cover. It was just like a newspaper. Just very unoriginal. D tier. Use Your Illusion 1 was orange, which, if you remember back from my color tier list, ranked like down here somewhere, which is not very good. So, but it was goofy. I'd give it a C tier because of the orange. Now, Use Your Illusion 2 was the exact same thing, but it had blue on it instead of orange. And if you look back over at my color tier list, we put orange below blue. Blue was up here. So, like, we had to give it a B tier instead. Now, the spaghetti incident gave me nostalgia to SpaghettiOs in, like, the can. And when you opened the can and cooked it, and it looked like SpaghettiOs if they were in the string form. It was amazing. This was... I must have taken a while to make this album cover, honestly. It gets an S here. A Chinese Democracy. Unlike Ballbreaker, an amazing name cannot save this. Chinese Democracy, although being very goofy, is just like a bike thing. I don't know. So, it's a B tier. Now, guys, we're on to the only one I know that like repeats the same album cover 4 times. Avenged Sevenfold. Now, starting us off with Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. It was purple. Who here thinks of Avenged Sevenfold and thinks of the color purple? Granted, purple got... purple was pretty low on my color tier list. Since I didn't rate grayscale colors, it was poor dude. But, you know, it was still very good, so it gets an A tier. Waking the Fallen is one of the ones that they like to copy a lot. It is the one they copied a lot, actually. It is the as I said, skeletons. I love skeletons in album covers, and this is just a skeleton of skeleton wings. Or a skull of skeleton wings, but same thing. S tier. Now, the City of Evil. It's very different than most of their other ones. and I really liked it. It was like some dude. I'm like, I don't know what he was on, but he was on something. I'm gonna call it the Bat Cycle because I hasn't been taking it. Very cool. S tier. Avenged Sevenfold is the self-titled album is the one I was talking about. Where this one just blatantly copies Waking the Fallen. It is the exact same thing except on a white background. And while yes, it still looks cool, I can't give it that high for that. So for just being a blatant ripoff, I have to give it the B tier. Now we have Nightmare, which is like a little kid hiding under a blanket, and then you got like the scary dude in the background. I think it's very good. Not as good as some of their other ones, but still a very good album cover, so I give it an A tier. Now we have Hail to the King, which is just Waking the Fallen, like only half of it, but really big. But I like this one a lot, so it gets an S tier because it still looks very cool, and I get to see more of the detail on the skeleton. Sabaton now, which I only put on here because I knew one of their album covers was cool. Holy crap, I loved all of their album covers. I don't know their music very well, so I'm going to speed run this, but I want Nicholas to focus. Oh, put this in the war ground, by the way. A lot of their album covers like war and stuff. I'm going to speed run this. Nicholas is going to just show the album cover and their place on the tier list. I know how much he loves doing that Metallica thing. 3, 2, 1. Coat of Arms is very good A tier. Atero Dominatus is also very good A tier. Primo Victoria, as I said, very good A tier. The Art of War is an S tier. Caralis Rex is an A tier. Heroes is an S tier. The Last Stand is an S tier, which is the one I had done before. The Great War is an S tier. The War to End All Wars is an A tier, and the Heroes of the Great War is an A tier. The War to End All Wars was one that they had a historical version for some reason, but like it had a very different album cover, and that other album cover showed on screen if you can find it. It's amazing. Alrighty, Nicholas, put it somewhere scary. We're going to Slipknot. These guys, if I saw them in real life, would probably give me a nightmare. They'd probably cut my head off, put it on a pole. Starting with their self-titled album. It's red. They're in it. There's not much to it, though. So, because of that, I give it a B tier. Please don't come kill me, guys. Next is Iowa. It's just goat horns. Like, actually, just the goat horns. So, C tier. Volume 3 was pretty good. It was like Slipknot, like their self-titled album, but better, in my opinion. So, it gets an A tier. All Hope is Gone. Now, I originally thought that this one was like the people, like the goofy big head aliens walking forward, and this would have gotten an S tier. But then I realized that was the different version of it, and the original version was them walking in like a hayfield. This made me sad enough to bring it down to an A tier. Dot 5, the Gray Chapter. It was nothing special, but still very good. So B tier. We Are Not Your Kind. I didn't know what this was doing. I didn't like it that much. So D tier. And the end. So far, it's about as good as some of their, about the average of them all. Except a little better than average for them. So I give it an A tier. Next we have, oh jeez, we're still going. Next we have Def Leppard. On Through the Night. It's like a bus and it's like driving through the sky. But like at night. Which is why it says On Through the Night. Gets a B tier. High and Dry. I did not like this one. It was just like some dude diving into a pool. So I'd give it an E tier. Pyromania was like when I redeemed myself at the Geography Bee and got 3rd place that year. Made me very happy. It was a very good redemption. My dad was finally proud of me, just like I'm proud of this album cover being good. It's an A tier. Hysteria also gets an A tier. Now, Adrenalize is decent. It wasn't the best. And like I've said a lot, but it wasn't the worst. It gets a B tier. Retroactive, I would say the exact same thing about. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, but very in the middle, B tier. Slang was okay. Slang was not very good. Which is why give it the D tier. Euphoria also wasn't that good. It looked like something I could make in a Google Slides presentation. D tier. X is very simple, but I think they did simple very well. It's just like painted X and Def Leppard on the side. I liked it a lot, so it gets an A tier. Yeah, was a C tier. That's all I'm gonna say because it was funny. Songs from the Sparkle Lounge. Great name, by the way. It's if you know Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heartstrung Band, it's very similar to that, and with just a bunch of random pictures of people in the background. And because of that, I gave it a B tier. I couldn't give it any higher because I'm pretty sure they copied the Beatles there, though. Def Leppard is just glass breaking and Def Leppard's name, as it is a self-titled album. Not very original. Gets a B tier. Diamond Star Halos gets an A tier. It's black. It's got the little eye triangle. It's pretty good. So yeah, A tier. Quiet Riot. Not all the albums are on Spotify yet. I didn't feel like going to go look at all the albums, so I'm just doing the ones they had on Spotify. Mental Health is amazing. I like the pink. Remember, pink ranked like middle of my color tier list. So using pink in your album cover is a bold statement, but I think it's very good. And the dude looks insane. This is another dude I don't want in my house. So C tier. I mean S tier. S tier. I apologize. S tier. Condition Critical. It's basically the same dude except he's in the doctor's office now, which is also very good. So he also gets an S tier. QR3 is, well, the QR stands for Quiet Riot. I bet you didn't know that, but Quiet Riot 3 is goofy. It's like, it says QR3 in the middle, but in the back of the medal, it's got the dude staring back at you. It's just like my neighbor. B tier. Give me this some nostalgia. Quiet Riot. I didn't get what it was going for. I give it a C tier. Alive and Well. As this one says, they were alive and they were well. Which is always a nice thing to hear, but you know, sometimes I don't want that dude to be alive and well, because look at the metal. Because I'm pretty sure they're talking about their album cover thing. The album cover dude is terrifying. I don't know if I want him to be alive and well, because that means he could come in my house and kill me at any moment. B tier. Road Rage is very cool. They took the dude's mask and they put it on a car. Like a Mad Max style car, reminded me of that. It was very, very good. I give it an A tier. Hollywood Cowboys is very unique. It looks like an old Western cartoon. But it's amazing. So, it gets an A tier. Now, I don't remember much of these album covers, so I'm just going to go off of what I do remember. Valley of the Darned. We don't swear on this channel. Valley of the Darned was pretty good. They got a woman on it, though. Doesn't bring down anything, but I thought it was important to mention. But it was hand-drawn, but it felt a bit unoriginal. I give it a B tier. Sonic Firestorm got like the earth and there's like meteors coming down. It was pretty cool, so I give it an A tier. Inhuman Rampage is the one from Through the Fire and Flames, which is in Guitar Hero, and if you tried to play that song in Guitar Hero, you probably fell down and died. I would assume that that song is very hard because it has Nicholas told me about the guitar solo in it. Nicholas, film yourself, but like doing something funny right now. Nicholas, good job. A tier. Ultra Beatdown was also just about as good. I also gave it an A tier, so you know, we're on the Power Within. Yeah, it's just a P, something else there. I forget what it was, but yeah. It's a cool P though, so it gets a B tier. Maximum Overload. This was a pretty cool album cover. I really liked it. It gets an A tier. Reaching into Infinity also gets an A tier. It was also just as cool. Same with Extreme Power Metal. They were all very cool. They all get A tiers. Now, what you've all been waiting for, the greatest band of all time, the Cabbages! Woo! Yeah! Starting with the Cabbage Patch. The Cabbage Patch was very original, amazing. It made me cry more than when I watched Endgame, but like of happy tears. Not sad tears. Very happy tears. Like when you bite into pizza after not eating it for 5 years. Or if Nicholas were to be let out of the Ender's Dungeon. You would be having tears of happiness. That's what I had when I saw this. Oh, the choreography of them standing there, they stood there very beautifully. Wow, they were extremely sexy in that photo. Whew. Gets an easy S tier. Now Plague. Plague is their upcoming album. I decided to rank their album cover. It looked very good. Honestly, I kind of wish those sexy men were there, but it doesn't matter. Still, very great album cover, and probably the best album cover of all time. Honestly, if all the albums were to have a battle royale and started killing each other one by one, I bet Plague would win, which is why it gets the double S tier, like 2 S's. It's the only one there though. But yeah, that's my ranking of a lot of just random bands' album covers, and yep. Nicholas, end the video with monkeys dancing, please. See you.